everybody, this is Jbizzo 49
and Prometheus MFD.
Something was missing last month.
A job for me? So I can pay for classes without having to borrow more money from my family?
Of course. But something else was missing last month.
Did we forget to do a blog?
No, we didn't necessarily forget. We did do one. It was just too goddamn short, so I ended up throwing it out.
Not enough substance, eh?
Not enough tangents, more like.
Could have made it That's What She Said joke, but I chose not to. Why? Because I'm crazy.
Also, that would have made no fucking sense, but hey, you know, business as usual.
Alrighty then.
We have a few more topics this time around than when we attempted to do this last time, so hopefully this will be of decent length and decent bullshitting, and you guys will be entertained.
If we pad it enough, it will be. But, yeah, last time we only had, like, 4 topics, so...
Yeah. We have pretty much double that now.
Yeah. Alright, you want to choose the first one, seeing as your channel
as I have
that hosts it?
I have the list open of topics we came up with about 15 minutes before we hit the record button as well.
we love to prepare.
So our first one, there was some big hardware release this week.
Oh, yeah.
I really don't know what it is. I totally forgot.
We're gonna really overplay this thing, aren't we? I'm going to beat around the bush by asking it. All right, the 3DS came out.
Oh, good for you for finally bringing that out to the audience.
Weren't you just complaining that we don't go on enough tangents? But from what I've seen, other than the eye damage to under 6-year-olds, and the occasional headaches, it's a pretty good system.
Well, there is a certain YouTuber out there you folks might know, Stuart Ashen.
We're such fanboys.
Yeah,
Him
he did.
And Hellfire Comms, those are like 2 of our favorite YouTube channels.
And they're both mostly British.
They are.
Who knew? Anyway, he posted a video which is about a half hour long on the 3DS because he was such a lucky bastard that he actually got his hands on one.
Some of us don't have money. Some of us just can't find one.
And some of us don't fucking care.
Yeah, you're gonna wait till what, like the 3DS 3? Once Kid Icarus has already gotten 2 sequels.
I'm gonna fucking wait until there's a decent lineup of games / the price has dropped by at least $50.
I'm gonna get a new DS Lite first. I'm gonna get like 8 of them because they're gonna be cheap now.
Of course.
Unlike the Game Boy Advance, which is now officially a collectible as of like February. So GameStop doesn't carry them anymore.
And also the fact that those things have now gone up in value.
Yeah.
Since they are quote-unquote collectibles.
That's why I'm getting the DS Lite.
So, your impressions on anything you've seen of the 3DS, videos or otherwise?
Other than the battery life and the D-pad, it's been shown to be a very sound system. Although the battery life isn't too much of an issue because it will give you headaches after a while.
Yeah.
Which is fine. We need to put down the handheld games regardless and go pick up a console controller.
Don't you usually have your like DS Lite backlight set to death?
It's either death or Game Boy. you either can see in the dark. You can either see in the dark like it's daytime with it, or you need a freaking desk lamp. Those are the 2 settings I use it on. I have it at its brightest when the it's at full power, and then once the little indicator light turns red, I switch it down to the lowest power level, just so I don't have to charge it.
Just so you don't have to charge it.
I am a lazy bastard.
I guess you are? Question mark.
So, what's nice is the 3D has an analog slider.
Yep.
Which is really neat. Which is a really neat design, because you wouldn't associate 3D with an analog slider. You would think it'd just be on and off.
Yeah.
Also, from what I've heard, the control slider thing,
the
above
analog stick,
the analog slider,
the analog stick.
I refuse to call it a stick. I started calling the one on the PSP a slider. This one's a better version.
But then again, probably being crucified is better than the PSP's analog slider.
It's good enough for Jesus. Actually, no, it's not. It's not good enough for Jesus. I apologize for that one. That was kind of offensive to me. I offended myself. But anyway, it's not the cheap, plastic, flimsy ass ones that the PSP has. It's a solid, good, easy to use one.
The D-pad, on the other hand,
D-pad, Nintendo hasn't made a good D-pad since the DS Lite, and they haven't made a great D-pad since the Game Boy line.
Any other impressions that you got?
I like it. That's pretty much all I've got for now until I get one. So there'll be a personal review from me probably this Christmas or maybe my birthday, depending on whether or not my family's willing to shell out the $250 to get me a handheld gaming thing when I'm supposed to be studying for college.
And then he'll make it at that point, but you won't see it uploaded here onto YouTube until like 2015.
Either that or I'll just not make it. God knows I need to get a freaking capture card. Yeah. So anyway, what do we have next to talk about?
Personally, I'm not going to get a 3DS at this point, because the launch lineup is a little lackluster. But then again,
it always is.
Aren't all launch lineups lackluster?
I think the only good launch title game I've seen in the past 10 years is Twilight Princess, and even then that it still looks and feels like a PS2 game.
Yeah.
But with a Wii controller.
Yep. So it's with gimmicks.
Yeah. That's why I bought the GameCube version.
Of course. Okay. So you've heard our verdict on the 3DS. Somebody got something and has therefore not been able to do much for about a month.
Yeah, I bought Pokemon White. I pre-ordered it the day before it came out, and I got it. I picked it up literally 12 hours after it was released, and I had the first badge an hour into the game. I had 3 badges about 6 hours into the game, and I had all the badges by the end of the week. And by about mid last week, I was level grinding to try and get fill up my Pokedex. When I go to turn on my DS, hit Pokemon White, realize that the card isn't registering, take it out, blow into the slot, put the game back in, because my DS apparently has trouble with the Pokemon games with the infrared thing. But anyway, I go to access Pokemon White, and it says the game data cannot be accessed. Take it out, try it again. Game data cannot be accessed. I repeated that like 20 times before I just put it back in its case.
30 minutes before we started recording,
I turned it on. It worked, but my game data was corrupted. I am so glad I didn't transfer my Pokemon from Pokemon Heart Gold.
You would have literally lost an entire Pokedex.
Yes. I would have had my Pokedex filled, except for a few select exclusives and event Pokemon. But yeah, I did lose my Victini.
Okay, so your overall impression of Pokemon White?
It is a very good game. It does a good job. The plot itself basically questions the entire concept of the series. Whether or not it's okay to put the Pokemon convert them into energy and put them in these capsules so that you can fight with them. I don't know. I like it. I give it a 10 out of 10.
The quote-unquote Team Rocket in this game is?
Team Plasma.
And what are they all about?
They want to separate the humans and the Pokemon into two separate worlds. And that's all I'm going to say without spoiling anything.
Of course. There were a couple of new battles introduced in the 5th gen. You want to go into detail on those?
So, between Pokemon Black and White, there have been two new battle types introduced. Rotation battles and triple battles, respectively. So, in rotation battles, you send out 3 Pokemon, and you can... but they only fight one-on-one with your opponent. So you can switch out between the 3 of those as a free action, switch out between them and your benched Pokemon, or attack. A 3-on-3 battle, all 3 Pokemon are out, but they're all fighting as a tag team. But the thing is, the Pokemon on the ends can only attack the Pokemon on that end plus the one in the middle. And the Pokemon.
If you've played any sort of strategy game, you know why that makes sense.
Yeah, some attacks, are ranged attacks and will do damage across both. But yeah, they're fun. They're a neat gimmick. They don't dominate the game, which is nice.
Sort of like how double battles didn't necessarily dominate 3rd gen.
Yeah, except for one gym leader, and we didn't even get a gym leader for triple battles. We did, however, get a gym leader whose Pokemon is based on what your starter is.
Well, that's interesting.
And then we also got a gym leader, or a town, whose design is based on what game you have. And then we have version-exclusive locations. Yeah. You should know all about this if you care about Pokemon.
It's like, what was it? In White, you have White Forest.
Yep.
Which is a forest.
Of course.
And then in the same spot in Black, you have Black City, which is presumably a city.
It's a cave.
Fuck.
Actually,
recurring jokes.
You can actually link up a copy of White and Black and play with your friend in their version's location, which is kind of neat.
Or if you have them both and have 2 DSs, you can play with yourself.
Which is what like 90% of the people have done since the first versions. Playing with yourself. Insert your own wanking jokes here.
God, we're even being influenced by the British. We're using their terms.
I personally prefer that over
the other
American slang. I believe it is a lot more vulgar in Britain, though. So if I offended anybody, I apologize. Also, fuck you for being offended by us.
Please subscribe. Remember in the Hellfire Comms the Sonic Adventure 1 playthrough where it's like 1 free insult if you subscribe. I think they were talking about how is how in Sonic X, the thing wasn't called gun, it was called GUN. And talk about how America has double standards like that.
Yeah.
Which isn't necessarily offensive, because it's fucking true.